Moving into our last segment of the day, we're giving the man a spotlight because, dude, this guy is a front runner here for the Republican Party, folks. Not front runner like in terms of before Trump and DeSantis, but he's up there in the top 3 easily. Vivek Ramaswamy, folks. Vivek Ramaswamy here, running for president. Trump talks about Trump indictment. This guy's smart. If you want a solid ticket, a really solid ticket, I think these are going to be the 2 tickets. I think you're going to have Trump, so Donald Trump, Kari Lake, and you want to really, and this one might tug at me. This would be hard. A DeSantis Ramaswamy ticket. Let me know what you would go for. Trump, Lake, DeSantis, Ramaswamy. Both really strong tickets. I mean, really strong tickets. The difference is you get kind of the feistiness and maybe a lot of the personality from Trump that we could probably bring down a little bit with the Trump Lake ticket versus DeSantis. You still get the kind of the Trumpy aspect of him, but Ramaswamy is strong, man. I mean, that guy is strong. You'll hear it right now. Hit that like and subscribe button, folks, if you haven't already.
Welcome back to State of the Union. Most of the Republicans running against former President Trump defended him after his indictment this week, but only one has gone as far as my next guest. Here with me now is Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Thank you so much for joining me. So before you heard any details of the allegations in the Trump indictment, you put out a statement saying if you become president, you would pardon Donald Trump on day one. Now you've seen the allegations and you've seen that he stored highly classified information like nuclear secrets and others in unsecured areas of his country club. Given everything that you've seen, do you stand by your promise to pardon him if he's convicted?
Reading that indictment and looking at the selective omissions of both fact and law, Dana, I'm even more convinced that a pardon is the right answer here.
Why?
The top question actually we should be asking is, what did Biden tell Merrick Garland? What did Merrick Garland tell Jack Smith? Because what I see in that document is deeply politicized. Not a single mention of the Presidential Records Act, the most relevant.
That's exactly what I was talking about in segment 2, right there. Nobody's talking about that. The media does not want to talk about it because it vilifies Donald Trump. That's why.
Relevant statute to the actual alleged crime here. Selective statements from President Trump's statements on the campaign trail in 2016 about classification and how he'd treat it, without one mention of the fact that he actually, after he was elected in 2016, said he would not prosecute Hillary Clinton and would not want to see her prosecuted. And by the way, no one's mentioned this yet. This was what stood out to me. The classification scheme itself was defined not by statute, but by executive order, which is interesting because executive orders, appellate courts have held, do not bind a U.S. president with the force of law. So this is selective prosecution. I think it's irresponsible not to have included any treatment of those facts or law in this indictment. It reeks of politicization, which is why I want to go back to the top question that the media actually should be asking. What did Biden tell Garland? What did Garland tell Jack Smith? That's what you need to be getting to the bottom of.
That's a great question. We're going to continue in just one moment. I want to kind of feel like, see, a lot of these people just throw stuff at you without kind of giving the background of what's been taking place. This has been a conversation. The White House is saying that Joe Biden has not talked to Merrick Garland whatsoever. That's what's being said because they're trying to separate the two. I don't know. The White House has lied a lot, man. I have a hard time really believing that. I think there is a politicization right now of the Department of Justice, the FBI, as well as the IRS that's going against their political opponents, but also going after conservative Republicans. That's what I think. And I think a lot of you agree with that statement as well. I think everybody sees it.
The White House insists that he has absolutely no connection to this, that the whole reason the special counsel was put in place is to take it out of politics. But I want to read something. I want to read something that Bill Barr, President Trump's own attorney general, said just this morning on another network. He said, quote, if even half of it is true, speaking of the indictment, then he's toast. It is a very detailed indictment, and it's very, very damning. This is the former president's own former attorney general.
I think we have to be able to draw a distinction between bad judgments. I would not have made the judgments that President Trump made. It's a big part of why I'm in this race, is I think that I would have made different judgments than Trump made.
What would you have done differently?
Well, I would not have taken those documents with me, and I would have returned them on demand because that would have actually set up for a much more constructive discussion. But there's a difference between a bad judgment and breaking the law. And when especially the federal police apparatus conflates the two, that's a threat to liberty for everyone, not just President Trump, but every American, where every misjudgment is treated as a violation of law What really matters is the relevant law, including, by the way, how Judge Jackson interpreted the Presidential Records Act in 2012 in the Clinton sock drawer case. Not a single mention of the most relevant statute in that document means that indictment is a politicized document. That's why I want to get back to the bottom of the politics behind it, and we need transparency there.
God, he's good.
According to the indictment,
he's good.
Quote, the classified documents Trump stored in his boxes included information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. So we are talking about very, very sensitive information, which, again, Trump allegedly stored in a bathroom, ballroom, in his bedroom. Is that more than just bad judgment?
It's very bad judgment, no doubt about it.
So you do have issues with that?
I do, if those allegations are true. By the way, the reason we have a court of law is, and I am personally deeply skeptical of everything in that indictment, so I will not believe it until we actually see it aired in a court of law. And the reason I don't believe it, Dana, is the selective omission of a bunch of other facts that should have been in that indictment. A treatment of a bunch of other statutes that are relevant to this alleged crime that were mentioned nowhere, that I personally have no faith whatsoever in those vague allegations. So if those are true, yes, I think that's reflective of very bad judgment. I'm skeptical that it even is true. But the bottom line is we cannot conflate a bad judgment with a violation of the law. And that's what it's at.
And we should note, as you know, when an indictment is, in order to get an indictment, it has to be approved by a grand jury.
What they taught us in law school is that you can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich.
Just on principle, just on.
I love that. Oh, I tell you guys, he's good. You're telling me DeSantis Ramaswamy ticket isn't going to be strong? DeSantis is like a Trump 2.0. I mean, Trump's now a 2.5, but you understand what I'm saying. You get a lot of Trump in DeSantis without maybe saying the knucklehead things all the time. I love Trump. Probably vote for him again. But I'm just saying, man, this guy is really strong here. And he's taking a bunch of things and combining them together going, like, this is just a wrong thing to do. He gets in a little bit of dicey territory here. And I think the way he's going to get away with the argument in terms of Hillary Clinton by just saying, well, it's just misjudgment. It's misjudgment to have bleach bits, misjudgment to, break cell phones and other things with hammers when she was Secretary of the State. The difference is she wasn't president. She was Secretary of State. Donald Trump was president. And that's backed up by the act that he was talking about before.
In principle, do you think it would be a mistake for the Republican Party to nominate somebody who is facing serious federal criminal charges?
Look, I'm in this race to win this race because I think we need to move forward as a country. I think we go forward with the agenda if we're grounded in first principles and moral authority. That's why I'm in this race. But that's not for you or I or certainly the Federal Administrative Police State to decide. That's for the people of this country to decide.
Federal Administrative Police State? That's pretty strong.
That's exactly what's at work here, right? You have a federal administrative state. The police arm of that state is for the first time in U.S. history not only indicting a former president, but indicting currently a lead candidate against the U.S. president. That is not the stuff of the United States of America. That is the stuff of banana republics.
Wow.
And if there was ever going to be a case brought against a lead political rival for a sitting U.S. president, it better be locked down and airtight, not an indictment that fails to mention the most relevant statute that's actually at issue.
Yeah, well, it is, obviously, as you said, it is unprecedented. I should say that there have been democracies that have prosecuted put criminal prosecution of former leaders because those times have been so extraordinary.
And here in the middle of an election.
And this obviously is very extraordinary.
Did she just rub you the wrong way? I mean, this is CNN, so obviously it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. But do you notice here? She's pulling out, oh, well, this is what was in the classified documents. There was at least 4 or 5 sets of classified documents found all around Joe Biden. Literally, Joe Biden went to another country and they were finding documents in the street, you guys. That's not a joke. That really happened. So in the midst of all these classified documents being strewn out everywhere, he goes, I think it was Ireland, and they're finding classified documents lying in the street of Ireland. Read that one up. It's head spinning. It's not really Joe Biden's fault necessarily. It's more of Ireland's fault, but that's a whole nother story. The whole idea here is they're not calling out anything for Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton on what they had on her server or he had in his house or in his boxes in the garage. You know, it's everything Trump. It's such, I gotta watch my language. It's BS.
I disagree with the allegations. I just think I do not believe those allegations because of, I think, the intellectual dishonesty in that indictment. So I think the federal court is actually, I think, based on the precedent of the Clinton sock drawer case, where effectively Judge Jackson said that it is at the president's, her language, not mine, sole discretion as to what is and is not covered as a presidential record, I think the court will acquit him. But that's beside the point of the judgment that President Biden made. And if Trump's judgment was bad, President Biden's judgment is worse for actually bringing a prosecution. He should have done what Trump did.
President Biden didn't bring a prosecution.
The Department of Justice reports into the President of the United States, and so this is a fig leaf, which is why I think the media needs to get to the bottom of this.
But there's no evidence. There's absolutely no evidence,
Dana,
unless you can show me some, that President Biden has had anything to do with this prosecution.
Dana,
That's why he put 2 layers in between with the
With due respect, I think it is shameful that I, as a competitor to President Trump in this race, have to ask questions that the media isn't asking. The job of the political media, if it has one job, is to hold the U.S. government accountable.
Yes, we know that.
And instead, we're doing the bidding. You're seeing the media doing the bidding of the U.S. government.
No.
Ask the question. Get to the bottom of what Biden told Garland and what Garland told Jack Smith.
Damn.
If the same shoe fit the other foot, you would not take their word at face value. Do not take their word now. Get to the bottom of it. Let's actually restore journalism in this country. That's what's actually missing, is getting to the truth.
Okay. Thank you for that. We are absolutely asking these questions.
Damn. I'm getting goosebumps, folks. I'm getting all riled up in here because this guy is just laying down the law. She's no match for the guy. I mean, I don't think Trump and DeSantis honestly are gonna be a match for this guy. This guy's on top of it, man. I love him. Oh man, he's good.
Good.
And we know how to be good journalists because we do it every single day.
This is CNN saying that. It's CNN saying that, really? Come on. Don Lemon, Brian Stelter, reliable sources. Oh, yeah, sure. I don't know how he's not laughing right now.
Last question is, on the fundamentals, do you believe that Donald Trump should be above the law, or should he be held to the same standard as every citizen in this country?
Every citizen in this country is held and should be held to the same standard. That includes Joe Biden. That includes Hillary Clinton. That includes Mike Pence. That includes me. That includes every citizen across this country. What we're seeing here, though, is a selective prosecution.
Correct.
And there's a difference between Donald Trump when he left office as president versus Joe Biden, who is a U.S. senator,
Couldn't it be true
or Hillary Clinton, who's a Secretary of State, none of whom are covered by the Presidential Records Act.
Couldn't it be true that it's not so much as selective prosecution? It's just that the allegations of what Donald Trump did is just different and allegedly much more egregious than what we've seen anywhere else?
There are a few things that are just different about the presidency, and we have to accept that we have this as law in this country, Dana. And if you don't like the law, we should change the law. But the law says there's a Presidential Records Act that specifically gives U.S. presidents jurisdiction and authority over deciding what is and isn't a presidential record. And executive orders bind the rest of the country. That's the classification scheme. They don't bind the U.S. president. Again, these are questions for the courts. So I'm not substituting my opinion for the judgment of the court.
Right.
But I'm saying the fact that those distinctions did not even appear in this indictment, to me, reek of politicization, which is why I am deeply skeptical of the face value claim that the White House wasn't involved. That's what I want to get to the bottom of.
Vivek Ramaswamy, candidate for the Republican nomination. Thank you for your time, sir.
Man, he's good, folks. Can you just see her there, though? He just got done saying the media is rubbing the shoulders and kissing the feet of Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, and have been doing so for decades. And that you need to ask hardball questions. You actually need to go in there to see, hey, what was said from Joe Biden, Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland, Jack Smith? What was said about all that? And you don't want to do it. He literally looked at you straight in the eyes, lady, and you're like, well, isn't his case a little bit more egregious than Joe Biden's? Not really, because Joe Biden was in Congress and had classified documents. He was vice president and had classified documents under which he shouldn't have had. He's not allowed to have. Then you had Hillary Clinton have a server in her freaking bathroom, lady. And you're going to sit there, oh, his case is a little bit different. I don't know about that. I mean, bleach spitting and breaking cell phones with hammers and whatnot. I don't know. I don't think so. And she was Secretary of State. And again, there was a case in which Joe Biden wasn't vice president and he wasn't in Congress and had classified documents. I don't think as citizens, we're allowed to have classified documents. If you were in the military, part of the intelligence community, and you had classified documents at your home, why don't you write in the chat on what's going to happen to you? Because boy, oh boy, it ain't going to end up how Donald Trump, Mike Pence, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Eric Holder, Hillary Clinton, all the others did stuff that they did. It's going to end up real different for you because there is a difference. And you're seeing it right now happen in real time. There is a difference. There's a difference between what was done with Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and now Donald Trump. They're targeting conservatives. They're targeting Republicans, which is the question of the day. Now that 2024 is around the corner, do you think censorship, do you think targeting conservative Republicans are going to ramp up here? Because I think so. Vivek Ramaswamy is here defending not just the former president, but conservative Republicans. He is a great man. I hope he gets a run here at VP because he's not going to win, but I would love him linked up with even Donald Trump or DeSantis. Let me know what you think about that all in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you.
I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.